experience.
Right.
Like, they've been there 15 years doing that.
That's right. That's right. You was doing it, man, and brother, and Sister Sandra, what was it like? Well, Sister Leah. Let me not call you Sandra. Leah. That's what we called you back in the day. You know, what was your experience? I know you worked with the children heavily, and a lot of children still respect and love y'all for that. You know, please talk about it.
I said, as I was listening to Jerry and I was thinking, it reminds me of Family Feud, where you figure someone you had enough time while the other people was giving their answers to come up with great answers. But anyway, so I'm just leaving those little parts to the side. But I think for us with anything else, there was good and bad. And sometimes the good doesn't come until later.
Right.
And see, it has come because I get so many emails and online phone calls and things like that from the kids who back then didn't appreciate anything, but now they're so grateful because
Mm-hmm.
everything that they were taught has fallen into place.
Right.
And I'm also able to help them in whatever healing process is necessary. So I don't look at anything in my life as anything bad. I guess from it who I am, like you said, who I am today,
Mm-hmm.
and that I serve myself while serving others.
But a lot of people will come to me and say, what was I might as well, what was some of the mistakes, and because that community could have been a great thing, because there was really nobody who can challenge us on the streets when it came to that doctrine. So, brother Jerry, tell us what was some of that the good, because you was known as Teacher Ali, or it was Abdul Ali or Teacher Ali, direct.
It was a little bit of both. I was not given those names,
Yes, sir.
at that time, as a teacher teaching newcomers class, you know, and it's something that we have to back on and say, okay, in order for it to be fair, we got to look at the other side of the coin as well,
Right.
because that's called balancement. Things weren't as easy as it may have appeared to someone who was on the outside, but living in the, all the ins and outs we began to learn. And one thing for me, what happened is working with the children is that I wasn't able to get out into the street as much as other brothers were. So I was there, like, almost 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And there, I learned a lot. I had a lot of private sessions with the mom at the time. I proofread the books.
Yep.
Many people don't know that the True Light tapes, the first set of those True Light tapes, about maybe 30 or 40 of them, I made. I
Mm-hmm.
edited them. I created. I put them together for the mosque. I went out to other places and represented, the community. Things, different things like that, and those things also helped me to grow. It was all about growth and development. I took every advantage, every chance I could get to better myself,
Right.
at all costs. I always wanted to better myself. I made it a point to learn and know the doctrine, so that way I could represent it and defend it in a way that wouldn't make me look stupid.
Exactly. I understand. And, I have to commend both of you, because both of you have been together. We've known y'all as a couple for how many years now? How many years?
Too many.
Let me ask your wife, because the women always know. The women always know.
It's been about 35 years, and about 36 years.
36 years, man. Oh man, gotta commend that, man. Some of us can't handle 36 days nowadays. Not
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, yeah. And the truth of it, it's been a pleasurable ride. It has ups and downs, but the thing about it more so is that when you're on this journey and when you have someone who's with you who's on the same page, it makes it much easier and much more palatable, as opposed to being at opposite ends of the spectrum and always being at odds with one another about this, that, and the other, and things. So it's been a great, great, great journey. I wouldn't have chosen a better partner for myself if I had to.
And of course, and let me hear from the sister, the better half, please.
I will say that I did all that. We're not saying that there's not processes
Mm-hmm.
for growth because that's the reason why we're together this long because we have to work at it. Relationships are a work in progress.
Right.
There's things that you leave alone, and then there's just some things you're like, no, this has to change. So I wouldn't change it for anything else. I think Jerry is great for me, as I am so great for Jerry.
That's right. You tell it, sister.
Yeah, and I couldn't see being with anyone else that does not understand and experience the level of spirituality that we do. It just wouldn't work.
Oh man, before we move on to that and what you do, I want to talk about marriage life as far as polygamy, because I was looking through some of youthful scholars of today that have written books on this subject. I mean, brother Nasi, who's from out there in Georgia, he's out there in Georgia. Nasi Yashavel Ben Vunun, and Brother Polite has written a book on polygamy, romantic and Roman antics, polygamy or monogamy. And now both of them, they seem, as I read through the books, both of them seem that polygamy is not for everybody, and monogamy is much better if you can stay with that wife and work with that wife. But some people needed to get into that. What is your take on that, Brother Jerry? First and foremost, please.
It's like I said, it's a choice. It's a thing where, and when I was in the mosque, I was in polygamy when I was in the mosque for a short period of time when I was there.
Very short, very short.
And let me see, my thoughts went. Hold on a second. What it is, when it came to that type of a situation, you have to be. This is what I was told.
Right.
It's go out and you buy a present. Okay. For let's say you have 3 wives.
Right.
You go out and you buy 3 presents, and when you come home, you take the presents and you lay them on the table. You don't give any one wife a particular present first. Okay? You lay them on the table and say, okay, these are presents, it's all the same thing. Each one of you pick up your present. That way, a wife, because this can and does happen, she'll say that, well, he gave me mine first. Or he get, that
right.
sort of thing. To relieve that kind of, tension, you do things by way of using intellect.
Right.
It's more than just a physical thing. You deal with the spiritual thing, you deal with the mental part of it, you deal with the physical part of it. And you're dealing with the emotional part of it.
Right.
And all those things have to be weighed and balanced, and you have to know how to be able to do each and every one of those skillfully in order to maintain peace and harmony in the home.
Right.
Again, it's not for everybody.
That's right.
And like I'll say this here, and I'll say this here in a clean way. Men have 2 heads, and the head with no brain is thinking for most of men 95% of the time. Okay, that head doesn't think, no brain. And think about that, and that's what causes men to get into situations with women because of the fact that they don't look at a woman in a way where they're saying, I'm looking at you as not just a pretty or beautiful woman, I'm looking at you as a life partner.
Right.
Now what are we bringing to the table? Now, if you're looking for something like that, you look beyond the physical so much, and you look at the spiritual, the mental, and what else is going with the person. Because remember, when I taught the class one time, I asked this question about that same thing. I said, well, one of the things you want to do, if you can, is try to find out what the genealogy is like. Or like somewhere in those genes, if she got a crazy Uncle Fred somewhere, that's in those genes.
Wow.
And that will manifest somewhere down the road. Not that you can prevent everything from happening. You want to be selective about who you want to bring into your family, because of the fact you're not just building a family for yourself, you're building a future generation. And you want those children, those grandchildren, those great-great-grandchildren to be wise and intellectual enough to be able to build a future for themselves, who have laid the foundation for by way of what you know, what you are,
right.
by way of your intellect.
Right.
And intellect is very, very important. See, the other people do that. They look for intellect. They don't look necessarily at what, how good you look or whatever. They're saying that if I can get with that guy, if I can get Einstein, I know I'm going to have some Einstein kids. If I get some Einstein kids, they're going to be great. And that's what you want to look for, you want to look at. So when you deal with polygamy, everybody deals with it differently. Everybody has their own views and opinions and ideas of it. But the thing that you have to have is intellect in order to be able to have it work cohesively. Not 100% of the time, but cohesively, at least the majority of the time. And that way you have a great life, and they'll have great lives, and things will be good for everybody all the way around. It relieves a lot of pressure and tension on each individual, whereas it's something that needs to be done, someone else can do it, without the other person being, overworked or whatever.
That's right. That's right. And Sister Sandra, how about you? I know I know you're not as long-winded, but go ahead.
You don't know that I got 3 more. Never mind. Go ahead.
Anyway, I am extremely beyond big on women being empowered.
Mm.
I find that I can't speak on polygamy on the eastern side, except for what you see in the paper, and that women are not treated as equal. I think we're equal, although different in many ways. And I don't think polygamy promotes that empowerment of women.
Mm-hmm.
All polygamy that I've ever experienced has always been where the woman is subservient,
Mm-hmm.
and that is an issue.
Mm.
And there are cultures where women also have more than one husband.
Yes.
So I feel if a woman is told that, you're in a situation where you must have another, the man can have another wife, if I chose, and it may sound crazy to a lot of folks, I should have another husband if that's what I choose. So the whole point I'm trying to say is equal opportunity and empowerment for women, because it keeps women in a very, controlled situation. Now, of course, there's situations where economically things may not be right depending on where the person is, and you may have to be in a situation like that. But it's so rare that you find a man that has, on the third dimension, empowered and grown himself in a way that he can handle that situation. In the sense where you see these women as a black community, like say my queen or whatever, right, and treat each other as such rather than me man, you woman. So right, that's what my issue with it comes from.
Well, I'm honored that both of you have stuck it out 30 something years in marriage, and your brief stint in polygamy was what it was, brief, especially if you're with a Jamaican woman. We know what that is, guys. I remember Jamaican women used to throw hot oil at men for trying that stuff.
But I never will say never. You never know what's happening. Never know. You never know. And I'm ready just in case. You got the Boy Scout. I was a Boy Scout. The Boy Scout motto was be prepared, so I'm prepared.
That's training for comedy act. That's training for comedy act. But anyway, the thing about polygamy in the community, I had just married Jerry when I was put into polygamy. So I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I just know this person, and the mind games that get played. So I wrote a long letter saying, I don't agree with this. This doesn't make any sense to me. We're just married. We've not really gotten a chance to really know each other, and you're dumping this other situation here. So I was told that Western women don't know how to handle childbirth or handle polygamy. But nevertheless, it went with, I know you're joking. Not even true.
Let's move on.
I know. Yeah, let's move on, right? Well, thank y'all very much for your views, and of course, about polygamy and your wisdom about polygamy and monogamy. And I'm kind of, myself, I've been married twice. I'm ready to do it one more time, but I thought about that polygamy stuff, and I say, wait. You know what? I can't even handle the one I had, so why am I even trying?
There you go.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's not for everybody. A lot of them think so. But in truth, no jokes aside, yes, it's not for everybody, because everybody's mindset is not geared towards that type of lifestyle, and it ain't going to work for a lot of people.
And you know that phrase, enemies come together during the time of war? Mm-hmm. Oh, in polygamy, I've seen those women come together.
Yeah, in a time of war.
That man, not physically,
right,
but manipulate and get it going during the time of war.
And I guess that's why it was highly recommended after war. Men started taking on dead men's wives and all that kind of stuff, and I guess that's where all that came from. But let's go into what we came to deal with. Of course, a lot of things are happening. Of course, you see things going on in Baltimore, things going on around the world. I know y'all have a certain spiritual connection when it deals with ancestral work. Tell the people what type of work that you do, and how does it relate to us as as we're going about in our daily functions in this realm right here, please.
Okay.
Who's first?
We do so many things, and people always say, "I didn't know you all do that." We do reading, we teach when we have time, we balance the chakras, clear the energy field, DNA activation, and we are in constant contact with a group of beings who currently at this time call themselves we.
Mm-hmm.
We have met them before in different aspects while we were in the community, but we didn't tell anyone. There's a few other people who are in contact with other beings too, but didn't want to tell anyone because we was afraid of being called a jinn or anything like that. So
Right.
once the community, they started to come in full force. So that's part of the main thing that we do. And other than just being intuitive, where we'll get information or see what's going to happen, they will also come in with information. There's something going on that we may consider a crisis in the world, or something will call them in and say, such and such is a situation. What do y'all have to say about it? Sometimes they want to figure it out yourself, and they won't say anything. Or there are other times that they will. So what it is, Jerry and I are what you would consider master souls, since we've been here since the beginning of the planet. Our souls are billions of years old. The time is done because we've said this before. And billions, time frame of the soul is not that the soul really has time. Mm-hmm. It really deals with the point of origination when you left off from. The best way to put it is the ocean, and you're the little mini teacup. Mm-hmm. So when teacup, the first time you left off to become a stream or brook or whatever, to go traveling and figure things out, that's where we're talking about clocking the soul. There is been together in many lifetimes. We have been together in different combinations.
Wow. So in this traveling of life and different lives, y'all have been together in different incarnations, and does that happen with everybody else also?
It can happen. Yeah.
That has happened because the thing is that the people that you connect with on this plane, they're not accidents. They're people who you have a connection with or a reason to be connected. You come into a person's life for a particular reason.
Right.
And whatever that reason is at the time, you don't know what it is, nor do they. But as time progresses, you figure it out. Say, okay, now I know why I'm here for this particular person at this particular time to do certain things to help them or for them to help me. That's how it works. And a lot of us have those connections, with other people, and not just from this realm. There are people walking this planet who appear to be, and I'll say it like this, flesh and blood like human, but they're not from this dimension. They're not from the third dimension. They're from other dimensions, other planets, other planes, other places of existence.
Oh, wow. I mean, a lot of people, of course, would say, this is kind of out of this world, which it probably is.
It is.
And a lot of people, last time you came here, you did a very, very intuitive workshop with us, and I mean, it was excellent. Can't wait to do it again, people was that came really was still talking about it and how they enjoy it, and how you conducted that workshop as far as showing people how they could be either psychic or precogs or what have you, and learning how to tap into that energy. Now, with this type of work, I know there's a lot of energy vampires, correct?
True. Oh yes.
And I have a book by Dorothy Harbour called The Energy Vampires, a practical guide for psychic self-protection. Now, I know you have your own methods of also protecting yourself from energy vampires, and I know I felt it myself. I felt so drained after coming out of a certain place, or I felt drained after shaking somebody's hand. What are some of the methods that we should use as far as to at least break that energy vampire connection, if anything?
Well, there are several things that you can do. One thing that I always tell people and recommend is always have a piece of organite. Even a piece of organite from us, get some organite. That will definitely help to organite that we make. And what that does, that helps to block or helps to negate that negative energy coming from those particular people and things. Also, a lot of people that work in an office, they have office space. I give them like pyramids. I put a pyramid on your desk, organized pyramid, and nothing to explain to anybody. Tells that the person or asked as a paperweight. And because in certain people with certain offices, people are always coming around their space and they're sucking energy from them. By the time at the end of the day, they're so drained, you don't know why. Because the these energy vampires coming and sucking from them. So if they put that organite in their space, what will happen is that those people will stop coming around because of the fact that they no longer will have any more energy to suck from you.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that you do is, let's say if you shake hands with somebody and you feel a drain, immediately snap your fingers. To
Right.
break the connection, break that connection from them. Or you can also send a mental message if you develop yourself enough and you can see them coming, you can mentally send them in another direction or simply coming into your space.
Mm-hmm.
They'll fall away and they'll turn around and go away. So there are different techniques you can envision yourself being encased in white light. You can also carry, let's say, as stones of reputation that we have, like you get your amethyst, your tiger's eye, different stones of things that send out energy and vibrations through the gate and prevent these people from coming into your space and sucking you dry. And there's a technique I show people because I can do it. You know, not that I'm an energy vampire, but I know how it's done and demonstrated it several times from the class that I do. How I can be standing next to you, I don't even have to touch you, and I get the energy from you. I just take it from you. I did the other day to a guy, and I showed him and I showed his woman how it worked. I said, this what happens, and I never really touched the person. I said, now you touch her and see what happens. And the person became weak. They couldn't even hold her arm up. Then I gave it back to him. Of course, I don't want her energy. I get my own. I gave it back to her. Within the next instant, they were back to being pregnant again. So it's all knowing what to do, how to prevent it, and how to block it. So, and I'm sure the book, I haven't read that particular person's book. I've got books dealing with energy vampires. I'm sure there's things that you can learn from that, but I'm saying there's not just any one way. Right. Many techniques, many ways of preventing people from coming around. Even in your own family, you have energy vampires.
Right.
You know, like when let's say with parents and children, a lot of times they get into arguments, and that's what they're doing. They're sucking off each other. And at the end of the argument, you know, one of them is really tired and walking away feeling good.
Right.
Because they're taking from the constant, people are constantly taking, and the fact that if you don't have to stop that or prevent that, and use, again, going back to use intellect, you'll always be subject to those type of things.
And then look at it from the aspect, there are those people who are consciously knows that's what they want to do. They are an energy vampire, and they consciously look at you and deal with you from that level. Another aspect of it is every time you come, different people's auric fields are different in width, distance. So you have to just go not too close to somebody to tap into their energy field. Now, the wider the energy field is, the wrong choice of word, we can't think of something right now, the more positive you would say that field is. And that's the one that is very far. Now, the minute you touch someone, you hug someone, you take something from them, wear somebody's clothes, you have tapped into that energy field. So the draining and all those things that you also feel could be because the person has issues going on. So tap into all of that stuff, and you're feeling all these things. And then when you begin to feel those things, you can also envision a brick wall between you and the person.
Okay.
And when you somebody's hand, you should always snap your fingers.
Always snap your fingers. And you know, and now can some of these things transfer from heritage, like from grandparents, great grandparents, and all that kind of stuff?
It again. Are you asking that?
Right. If somebody who's an energy vampire, can they transfer it from themselves to their children, from down the line, from grandparents, and all that kind of stuff? Suppose the grandparents was an energy vampire, can they pass that down?
It could be laying in their energy field, and depending upon if it gets stirred up or working. Some people don't even know they're energy vampire. You know, don't even know it. But the thing is that if they unknowingly go out and do things and are not aware, so you have to be conscious to the fact of exactly what is going on when you're dealing with energy, because everything is energy.
Right.
Everything is energy. And the thing is that depending upon the level of frequency of energy that one is vibrating on will determine whether or not they'll be able to take anything from you. So if it's a generational thing, or if it's something that can be passed on, if it's in the field in the genetics, yeah, it can be. No, just anything else. No, if it's in the Levi, it's going to be in the person.
those that are just tuning in, is it's now 42 minutes after the hour. We have brother Jerry Miller and sister Sandra Fraser, and they're a beautiful couple for at least 30 something years. They've been doing this work, or just staying in this conscious movement and doing awareness work, because they, you know, we go back a long time, and this family here has been doing their thing, and we have them on the line right here at Ustream. .tv. You could tell a friend. I've been posting it on Facebook because I had to move from Google Hangouts because they wasn't operating too well, and you know this technology is crazy. But this Ustream.tv is working quite well, and you can also go to Keep It Simple TV. This is Keep It Simple TV with King Simon, and of course we'll be doing weekly stuff. Every Wednesday we'll be doing something here. Now, with Jerry and Sandra, I'm going to ask you one thing I've learned over the years. You know, because a lot of us, you know, our family comes from Jamaica. You know, and I remember a lot of spiritual craziness used to go on in certain houses that I used to. Yeah, I know you're laughing, right, Sandra? Yeah. So I mean, people say duppy and all kind of. If they don't know what duppy means, that's a ghost in Jamaica. You see all kinds
all
of
my life.
all your life, right? Now, when people, now what is happening with people that disembodied souls, disembodied souls out there? What is happening? What is the transition that's going on, and why they're still around, or why they're still hanging out around us?
But one of the things, and then Jerry has something else to say about it, from experience, I always say to people that when you have your own experience, that's when nothing can waver. Remember TV series Ghost Whisperer?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Series is quite accurate as to how things go. And I can say that because I've had experience with people coming to me who have passed on. And the experience with a mother who came in a hospital gown, didn't know she was dead. She died in childbirth.
Wow.
And it was a line of them. It was hard to explain. It's like they were in my hallway next to the bedroom door, and they were just coming one by one. And she's like, what happened? And I said to her, you died 21 years ago in childbirth. She said, well, what about my daughter? And I was able to tell her what's going on with her daughter. And at the time, the daughter was in college and everything had worked out fine. So you have a lot of people that are confused and they don't know what's going on, and they just, they're like the people who see who died 100 years. And I remember we were talking about last week at a meditation gathering. Remember Wolfman Jack?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they said someone channeled him, and he is so miserable until this day because his context was he loved life on earth.
Oh.
What he to do is to come back through, to have those experiences. So there are those people like him who knows he's dead, but is consciously choosing to stay where whatever place that he is. And then there are those people that are just so confused and they don't know they don't know what's going on, and they just as you say, roaming around.
That is when a person, a lot of times when people become what you might call possessed, don't know it, and this happens to people who become intoxicated from getting drunk. Let's say it's called what it is. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they'll be sitting there drunk, and just be mum stuff, and that's not them. What has happened is that the disembodied soul that's trying to get back to the earth's realm inhabits that body for that period of time and is trying to operate it, trying to function it. If you remember the movie, I'm trying to think of it, with Will Smith, Men in Black.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The guy that was on the farm, that the being took over his body and tried to walk and try to do things. That's kind of what it's like. Okay. Is that the person is trying to operate a physical body, don't know how to connect with anymore. That's why they stumble, they fall, they become incoherent, those kind of things. And then when things happen and they awaken from their stupor, they don't remember anything that happened. I don't remember I did what? I don't remember doing that. Of course not, because it wasn't you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. These can happen. And so people have to become aware of the fact that there are also ways of protecting yourself against these type of entities and unwanted visits, as you might want to call them, from beings who have passed on physically but have not yet left the earth plane. Mm-hmm. And the things that we have done when dealing with that, with possession, I've dealt with them personally. I was a person who was possessed, and I did like what you might want to call modern day terminology exorcism
Mm-hmm.
on a couple of people, matter of fact, and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty.
Well, it wasn't a pretty sight, huh?
I mean, like what you see in the movies is very close to what goes on. Very, very close to what goes on.
What? Wow.
And too. I'm sorry, sis.
No, no, go ahead.
No, another thing that I wanted to now I lost my thought. Share about okay, the whole story of people been roaming around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
First, know that a person's name. If you're a highly developed psychic, you can tap into anything. We don't need people's names for birthdays. But a lot of times you'll go get a reading, and with the name and the birthday, it's like your telephone number to the other side.
Right.
So I'm gonna call this person's name because I don't want them coming in. But anyway, it was a black woman who lived in probably somewhere in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
We were having a detention gathering one Friday night, and a young lady that was here wanted to make contact, wanted Jerry to bring her father in because he's African and he had died, and the family was holding him and doing all kinds of stuff to his spirit. So anyway, a group of African spirit came, and this woman came with them, and she was like, she did not want to leave. We had a lot of problems getting rid of her, and her attitude was this. She said this was 1775 or
I don't know
something.
what year it was.
She gave the year 1775 or something like that, and we asked her were you a slave, and she was so offended. She said, Master Henry, I live on his farm and I work there, and he treats me really good. And all I know is he went up to town and got these big, tall Africans, and now they come here looking at me like they think they're better than me.
Mm.
She no clue where Atlanta was. I mean, the whole thing was amazing. So imagine someone that's been roaming around from 17 something, not knowing what's going on.
Mm. Mm. So do you have walkthroughs sometimes?
It did happen from time to time, but what happens with me is that in the earlier stages when I first started doing this, things would just come again at random. They would just come off me at random, and we really rough until I learned to filter. I learned to filter, and meaning that I would not allow certain things to come into my energy field. I would block them, and I would tell them that they're not allowed. They would have to go and have to leave.
Right.
And I only allow certain beings to come through at certain times for whatever messages that they have to have.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, they don't stay long. They come in, deliver the message, and they leave. It's not about hanging around and wanting to be in the presence of many people, because the low vibration of humans is something that is not where they like to be or dwell. They must be dwelling on a higher vibration frequency and plane. And they have come and delivered messages many times to us, and they tell us things what to look for, what to expect,
Mm-hmm.
and what to prepare for.
Oh yes. Matter of fact, let's speak on that, because I know you had said something over the phone call we had a couple of days ago about this 2016 going to be something else, and people need to prepare for certain things. So speak on that, please.
Well, what we were told is that 2016
Mm-hmm.
is going to be a year of change leading into 2017. Thing is 2016 is a year of preparation. Okay, it's going to be like a year of getting yourself and things together in preparation for 2017 coming in, because we know that 2016 represents changing of the guard.
Mm-hmm.
A new president is going to be elected, and the one that's going to be coming in is going to be nothing like the one that's there now. It's going to be totally opposite all the way around. A lot of let's put this, and I'll tell you in the English language so you understand it. Shit going to hit the fan. Okay?
Straight up. Right.
And so the thing is that what we are doing is that it's happening now, but only on smaller scales in different places. If the question would come up and arise, what would happen if you could not get to a hospital? Something was wrong with somebody in your family or yourself,
Right.
and you needed medical attention. What would you do? How would you handle that? What if you have a serious infection?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have the penicillin, you don't have tetracycline, you don't have any of these here chemicals that they use to All right. Okay. One of them is turpentine.
Right.
And when I say turpentine, I'm talking about when you go to Ace or Home Depot or Lowe's, the turpentine, the spirits of turpentine that you have in the paint department. Comes in a little blue can, or there's another place there in Georgia where you can get it from that's even purer than that. And I forget the name of the place, but I'll let you know later on.
Right.
I remember it. Okay, turpentine is very, very important. Do your research on turpentine. The next thing that you need is vitamin C. Vitamin C is something that's very, very important because it's damn near a cure-all for any type of thing going on. If you want to get a good idea of it, you can Google search curing with vitamin C, and you'll see a either 20 or 60 minutes expose on vitamin C, and how it brought a man back from death's door by the family insisting that he gets vitamin C. Thing is oil of oregano.
Right.
Oil is our go-to thing. It's an antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, any type of pathogen that you can possibly think of. Oil of oregano will kick his ass.
Right.
You know, and the proof of that, my wife here one day woke up one morning and said she couldn't breathe and she couldn't swallow. And I said, open your mouth. That you nothing but pink over there. And it was like a little slit opening in her airway. I said, okay, let's get dressed, go to the emergency room, but this shit looks serious. And so, wait a minute. I said, we got oil of oregano. We put oil of oregano in some pineapple juice. Grapefruit juice would have been better, but only pineapple juice. And she started sipping that during the day. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the airway had opened up. It was cleared, no problems. Everything was good. Even with my granddaughter, when she had a high fever of 104, we rubbed her back with turpentine down the spine, the bottom of her feet, the palms of her hands, with oil of oregano. And what happened within 2 hours, she was up and running around. So we know the power of what this here stuff here can do.
Right.
And that those are the things. Your turpentine, your oregano, and your C, and your what's the last one?
I think you told me iodine.
Iodine. Iodine. There you go. You remember that?
Yeah. I write it down, brother. I write it down. You know me.
You were paying attention.
Okay.
Well, iodine, the importance of iodine, I cannot stress. And this is going out especially to women. This message is for women only. This is not for men. Iodine is known, if you do your research, sisters, check it out. Iodine is known to help and prevent and to, I'll use the word cure, but I'm not going to say cure. I'm not saying that, breast cancer. There's a book out called, if I can remember it, What You Don't Know About Iodine Will Kill You. Something like that. That's the title of the book. Get it. And do your research on it because it's very important. You sisters who are stuffing that cell phone down in your bra, near your breast, near your heart, near your lungs, you are being x-rayed over and over and over 1,000 times, and it will cause problems. That little phone book they give you when you buy your cell phone, it tells you there's 3 things I remember reading it. So I read the book. It says, women who are pregnant, don't put near your belly. You don't put a cell phone near your belly if you're pregnant. Next thing is don't hold it close to your ear. Keep it 1.5 inches away from your ear while in use. Next thing it says is no prolonged use of the cell phone. It tells these things plus other things. Those 3 things are things that stood out to me in my mind that are important that people need to be aware of and when dealing with or having a cell phone. But those 4 things, if you do research on them, you'll find that they are essential. I'm going to kick in another one is your peroxide. If you can get food-grade peroxide, get that too, and because that will make a big difference in a lot of things going on, and it's going to be happening as far as your food and your water and things that also your food is being poisoned. I don't care if we call it organic or not, it's being poisoned. The water is being poisoned, the air is being poisoned. You say, well, what do we do? You do the best you can with what you got, and you take all types of precautions, and you look at things, you stay away from your processed food. If it comes in a can, a jar, or a box, or a bag, you don't need to be buying it. You don't need to be eating it. You know, and people say, well, I can't afford to eat organic, I can't afford to eat healthy. You can afford to buy a bag of potato chips and a can of soda and afford to eat healthy.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Eat the stages. You know, you can buy something else with that, especially those you have children. So a lot of you walk around seeing children all the time. I call them children kids. The children are not kids, they are children. and I see them walking around, and the parents giving them some candy with all this sugar in it, or some sodas, or these fake sports drinks, all this kind of stuff. You need to get away from that because this coming year coming in is going to be a very pivotal year, with things happening, and you have to start preparing yourself just in case. It's always a just in case it happens. If I got somebody locked in my house for 5 or 6 days, I can't get out due to whatever circumstances are, how will I survive? Will I have some place to go to the bathroom? Will I have enough water? Will I have enough food to sustain me and whoever else there with me? All these things have started looking on a serious level because when things happen, anybody coming to rescue your ass,
right,
they come for you. They're not. They showed you that down when they had Katrina. They would come for those folks, and they could have.
right.
The people who were sitting on top of roofs, they could have went, but they went. And so it is now up to you. You are your own safeguard. Everything that's going on this planet right now. You raise your level of awareness. You raise your level of consciousness. You tap into that spiritual part of it. You always talk about the ancestors, but the thing is that we need to learn to trust in what we're being shown. There are things that are hidden in plain sight that they pay attention to, and our ancestors will be there to help us if we understand and look for and know how to receive that help.
And this is very serious. I'm gonna repeat what you said. Of course, vitamin C. Now, what type of liquid vitamin C is better? What type of vitamin C? That's good.
I have the powder vitamin C because
powder.
What I have in the powder. Matter of fact is that I ordered a bunch of it. I ordered a bunch of it to have it on hand. And like I said, it's good for the heart, it's good for the skin, it's good for the hair, it's good for the blood, it's good for the parasites. And the thing about vitamin C too is that every animal on the planet produces its own vitamin C, except humans, primates, and I think it's hamsters. That's most animals. They don't produce their own vitamin C, but every other creature on the planet can produce their own vitamin C. And when it starts getting sick, it increases the amount of vitamin C in the body to do whatever it has to do until it no longer needs it, and then it will the factory down of producing vitamin C. Humans, we got to take it, and the way that it works with you, when you take a certain amount, and if your body doesn't need it, you eliminate it. You will go to the bathroom and it will take what it needs, use that, and eliminate the rest. Matter of fact, if you look up the guy by the name of, what's his name, Linus Pauling, that's the guy that really brought vitamin C to the forefront. And of course, what they did was they ostracized and made him look like a doggone fool. But the benefits of vitamin C goes beyond what you can imagine.
Say his name again slowly.
Linus Pauling.
Linus Pauling.
Linus Pauling. Pauling. YouTube Linus Pauling, and you'll get a whole bunch of stuff on him and vitamin C. You'll be amazed at what it is. For your turpentine, look up, research Dr. Jennifer Daniels. She's a sister that out of the country because she was curing people as she was a medical doctor, and she wasn't going along with status quo, and she was curing people. They took a license, and now she lives in Panama. She's working out of Panama, but you can still YouTube her, you can still contact her, be in touch with her. She's the one that tells you about turpentine and what it does and all its great benefits and more besides. The oil of oregano, you can look for North American Herb and Spice. That's one of the top brands on the market. The guy's name is Dr. Cass Ingram. This guy in the government shut him down too because another medical doctor came with oil of oregano and other products, and they got him all the time to run, but he's still doing what he has to do. And then we have the iodine. You can get Lugol, Lugul iodine, or you can get deoxified iodine. There are different ones. I have several different types that I use, and each of them are good within their own right. Idorol I use. I have that, and those are all good. So I'm telling people, just research these things on your own. Do your own research. You do your own, as we say today, do your own fact checking. It's fact checking. You check facts. You just don't take what people say. You go out and do your own research on it, and you'll be surprised at the things that you're going to find as how powerful these things are and what they're going to do health-wise. Because one thing, as my grandfather always said, he said, son, when money is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, all is lost.
That's right. right. That's right. Now you said something about Mr. Ingram's. What's his first name?
Dr. Cass, C-A-S-S.
Cass Ingram. Okay.
Dr. Cass Ingram. All iodine. I'm sorry, all oregano.
All of oregano. Right. That was
The company is called North American Herb and Spice.
North American Herb and Spice.
Yeah.
North American Herb and Spice. Yes.
We've been taking his products for I think almost 10 years.
Yeah, for 10 years we've been dealing with Dr. Cass. You know, a lot of good things come out of his company. He's well worth the cost, believe me. So that he stood the test of time, and I can testify to it. I don't work for him. I'm not getting no money for it. This about it and all that. But the fact of the matter is that the products do work, and they're top shelf. They're good. And those things are good to have. You need to have them on hand.
Right.
You know, we still go nowhere. Like in the car, there's a bottle of oregano. There's a bottle of iodine. And feel free to keep regular in the car. That way we don't have to go run out and find it. If in the car, we like go somewhere real quick. We know what's in there.
Along with our organite.
Organite too.
But now you're saying something about the organite. But where can people contact you to buy the organite from? I know people can hit you up on Facebook. Do you have a website? What have you?
Okay, the website we had up and we took it down because we were revamping it. We didn't like how it was working for us, so we said we're going to shut it down and we're going to get it working the way that we wanted to work, and we're going to bring it back in a short time. But for now, I'm working from my Facebook page, Jerry Miller. Or you can send me an email, and my email address is jaes123@yahoo. You can email me there if you have any questions, you want anything, or if you're on my Facebook page. You're my Facebook friend, you can inbox me, you can tag the pictures that I have in my photo section or on my home feed. I have them there, and I explain what they are, what stones they have, and what they do.
So that the email again is JAES123
right at Yahoo.
At yahoo.com. I just want to make sure everybody get that clear. That's JAES123 at yahoo.com if you want to reach out to Jerry Miller. Also on Facebook, also you can reach out to Sandra Fraser. I think the Fraser is spelled Fraser.
Yeah.
And Sandra, that's a Sandra name there. Sandra, yes. that name is like Marcia.
Yeah, right.
No Marsha. It's like when they were calling Colin Powell. It's Colin in Jamaica. We don't call him Colin. But thank you very much. After all of this and what's going on, what festivals will you be at? Are you coming up to New York? I know I'm going to bring you in October. I know she wanted to come a little earlier, but my date is all like really booked up. October is like that. October 18th looked like the date. But any festivals you're going to be in the tri-state area going to be participating in?
Not at any present time. Right now we're getting ready for the North American Festival here in Atlanta.
Yes.
Coming up this weekend.
Yes.
Also, we're going to be doing another one here in Atlanta. It's called the Awakened Spirit. We're going to be doing that one. But then we'll be putting in Pennsylvania in August. 8th, we're going to be in York, Pennsylvania, at one called Celebration Life Festival. We're going to be doing that one.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't get in contact with the International Arts Festival, did you?
No, I sure did. I've been doing something. I forgot that. I need to get in touch with them and see if we can make it up there. That would be great if we could do that.
Yeah, it's usually big, brother, and they got some live performances by different people coming in. It's gonna be very exciting. So, they got a nice venue there. So a lot of us gonna be there. A lot of us gonna be there. So if people see you, man, that'll be beautiful to see you out there if you can.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm look at the number right here, right now. You're giving me.
You want the number? I'll give it to you again. I got it right here with you.
718-638-6700.
6700. That's correct, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get up phone truck and give that person a call, get a shout, see if we can make things happen.
Right. And once again, want to thank y'all very much. It is now 7 minutes after 5. I want to thank y'all very much for being a part of this. You're the third show on my is a new show that I'm doing on this thing. So you're the first show on my Keep It Simple TV because I had to move from Google Hangouts. But you're the third show that I've done. Dr. Blair was last week, and I had Phil Valentine as my first show. So I want to thank y'all very much for participating and being just who you are, man. Y'all have helped me a lot, and you're part of my family, my spiritual family. I hope you let me know if anything is going around me. You let me know, please. Let me know what's happening, because
I had a message for you, though. I was just waiting for Jerry to finish.
Please.
Spirit said they want you to jump out and start doing psychic readings because you're there. You just need to pop it open a little bit. And it started to come out even more so when we were in that class. You probably weren't paying attention, but stuff that you were saying and responding to.
Right.
It's like, so that's where that's another big focus that you have to do.
Well,
you are psychic.
Well, I've been doing it through numerology because I did write my book on numerology, and it has helped me to connect with people and understand people. It's usually the first thought that comes to mind. I let it out and let them know this is what it is. So I've been doing it using numerology as my base for using it. So they're right. I've been definitely jumping in. I've been feeling that, especially in this number 11 year that I'm in. It deals with that type of energy that I'm in right now. So I'm feeling it. Any other good words? Huh?
You need to hit it full force, really on.
Okay.
Other than you're be known for numerology, you will be known for doing great psychic readings.
Oh wow. So, oh man.
And even if you have to start with the tarot to give you a base, but you don't have to because you have it. You just get up and do it, and that's the message that comes through for you.
Wow, I did purchase a tarot book. I did purchase one of those books. That's interesting. I've started studying that myself. So, but yes, thank you very much. I do receive, and that because I know it takes, but it takes a lot out of you. Sometimes I have to go hug a tree, man. I'm telling you, I gotta go. You understand?
Very draining, and you have to clean yourself up.
Yes, ma'am.
You travel with Florida water now, and that's kind of on the basic,
right.
Energetically cleaning. But it's simplest. The smell is not offensive. We have it in little spritzer bottles because even being out doing these different shows, we used to be so drained. It was amazing. So now we have to stay conscious that after each person hugs you, touch you, and we're not spaced out about stuff. We're not one of those people like, who don't touch my crystal, don't touch my stuff. I don't really care.
Right.
But you're in an environment where you have thousands of people coming through, you're dealing with a couple of hundreds, whatever. You have to really, block yourself.
So that the floral water would be good, right?
Yeah, I just keep a little spritzer bottle in my in the bag, and we do go into like the Goodwill to look for like racks and stuff to put on our tables or statues. I spray that stuff before it gets in the car. And again, we're not one of them. Ooh, this is gonna happen. We don't even think like that, but we've experienced before what that energy drain is like. Where we've been in the bed for like days after a show, and then we realize you need to be serious about this. And do you have time? I wanted to share something.
Yes.
About Jamaica?
Yes, please. Go ahead. Please share some.
Because how the main thing that we're trying to say to people is, we don't promote them. We're not interested in you getting up guns. Do that if that's what you want to do or whatever. Your power is within yourself.
Right.
That's what has to be developed. And I know it. As a child in Jamaica, we lived in like a duplex. And the neighbor's brother, I don't know if he committed murder or something, but he was in jail and escaped from jail and came to live with his sister, who of course was next door to us. So, we had those chairs on the veranda and stuff like that. Anyway, they went to the Obium man, and whatever the Obium man did, because that was stuff, my mother went to the Obium man, people that I knew did all of that. Brother was sitting on the porch when the cops came and passed him and never saw him.
Oh, wow.
And after the cops left, the sister said whatever the Obi man did is so the cops wouldn't see him.
Wow.
So I don't need anything. We've had so many experiences of our own, but as a child, that told me there's more to what everybody else is saying than what it is, because I witnessed that.
Right. Wow. Even Uncle Rise's son always give me a some type of affirmation to say, make myself invisible to all cops and all that, and it usually works. Yeah, it does. It really works. It really works. I gotta admit, even while you're driving, if you know you're gonna be speeding down the highway to go somewhere, you got to get down to Georgia or someplace. Once I say those affirmations, man, it hasn't failed yet. Praise be to the Creator. I haven't failed. It hasn't failed yet.
But you know the things that we have to practice, and that's what people are forgetting about the other side of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
One side of consciousness is to know the information, to be aware that that information exists. The other side is practice, because as beings, we have forgotten how to do many things.
Right.
And it has to be practiced. Fear will bring it out, but that's not necessarily when you want it to come out.
Right.
Because you may not remember what you did in that moment to bring it out.
Right.
So practice is very, very important.
Right. Well, any last parting words, Brother Jerry and Sister Sandra, once again?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for taking time out and having us on your show. I feel like, it was a blessing. It's always a blessing. Yeah. And we need, before we leave, like, you have to inbox me your mailing address. We want to send you something.
Yes.
We were talking about, so you can inbox me your mailing address. And I'm looking forward to coming up there again, seeing you, and make touching bases and making new connections with people, because everybody needs to know what they need to know, and this is our time for those of us who are on this path and ready to awaken in their lives up in a way that's going to be not what people expect, but how people, but the way it's going to open up the world's eyes to seeing who we really are as a people.
Brother Jerry, I wanted to ask you one question. I've always wanted to ask you this question. What brought you to Islam back in the day?
Oh boy, long story, but I'll make it short.
Yeah, okay.
But what it is that I started out very young. I was going to Hawthorne Gospel Seminary back in the early 60s. I was going to become a preacher, a minister, And what happened is that I cut that short and joined the Army. When I joined the Army, that's what I did with the Christians. I started drinking, smoking, chasing them.
Right.
I was young. I didn't care. I was having a good time. When I got out of the Army, I was kind of like, I wasn't really into any religion or anything. I really didn't care. And then I got involved with the Nation of Islam. I sat there, I wrote my letter.
Yes.
When you're on form, you got to write your letter.
That's right.
I's and T's. I did all that stuff. I submitted that.
That's right.
And with that brink of coming in, to Nation of Islam, I was working in New York, for the New Jersey, and I was open names. I'll never forget this day. I always remember Brother White in the restaurant, watching it all. Anyway, he was the first brother that I ran across when I was in Jersey. And what happened, he and I standing outside of a bank, he was talking to me, how big and getting ready to sell some books. All of a sudden, the bank, and just to show you how things work, is that these guys came out of the bank, guns drawn. The police came up with their guns drawn, everything. And I said to him, I gotta get out of here. He said to me, don't worry about it, brother. We protected. Don't worry about it. And as if we weren't even there. We were there surrounded by cops with guns, bank robbers with guns, and we're right there in the middle. And this dude just kept talking about the books, about the information. I said, that's crazy. This dude got guns. He said, don't worry about it. He said, don't worry, brother. We protected. And then as if we didn't exist. I said, okay, cool. And so after I bought a bunch of books for him, took them back to the office, read them with mine. I said, okay, now it's time to join community. And so I went to the SRI community, and I wasn't there but maybe a month when I gave my first khutbah.
What?
And boy, the brothers' eyes that we did in years never gave a khutbah in their life looked at me with them. I got side-eyed a lot.
Yeah, of course.
I got side-eyed like, who the hell are you just getting here? You giving a khutbah already? But that's how it worked out for me. So my journey took me through many different belief systems. I studied Hindu, I studied Buddhism, Taoism. I studied a lot of different religions because I was interested. But none of them really hit me like the way that it did when I was in with Islam. And then knowing that was all part of my growth and my development, I realized that, okay, now I've gotten what I needed from this. Now it's time to continue this journey on my own.
Right.
To order to have what I call a free mind. And have a free mind allows you to be able to, do what you want to do.
Right.
And seeing this here, that I remember there's a saying where it says, how to think.
Right.
So I back away from being what I was taught to think and learn how to think for myself
Right.
and freeing my mind. And then I learned the difference of what was being taught and then what was being learned.
Right. Wow. Man, I mean, I know that's a longer story than that, but
Yeah, it goes into, I mean, I give some real details of things that happened to me that I experienced personally in my life that, I look back on and say to myself, I like, I've seen things that people wouldn't believe. I saw my grandfather die. I've seen a lot of death in my time.
right.
I've seen life in my time. I've seen people die right in front of me.
Right.
All those different things that I've seen, I've experienced. But that's all part of my growth, my development.
Right.
To get me where I am, and to let me know that when people die right there in front of you, I mean, it's you're experiencing that death with them, but it's not what people think. It's not what people think, and so that's why a lot of the people when they let's say Western minds can't understand why some people welcome death. They can't understand because the Western mind is built on hedonism. This is a hedonistic society.
Right.
It's like it's like I said. What do we say? This is the world of what? Sport and play.
Yes. Yes.
And so people don't want to leave it. They want to say that this is one big Disneyland.
Mm.
And people are having fun here, and it's okay to do that, but you got to recognize that there are more things just beyond this physical realm of existence. Even though you might not understand it, even if you don't believe it, it doesn't matter. It's there.
That's
You
right.
have the reality of the seen and the reality of the unseen.
That's right.
And the things that are unseen are more tangible than things that are seen.
Right.
And once we recognize that and we free ourselves from the weights of the third dimension physical plane and what's holding us down and holding us back, our eye will be open, and we will step out of the darkness into the light, and we'll be able to see things that have always been there, but we've never seen before.
Wow. Well, I thank both of you. I mean,
Thank you.
Sister Sandra.
Yeah.
Now, I would ask you the same question, but I know you're gonna go long too. But I gotta get ready to go out of here. But
It's okay.
I would no, but I tell you one thing. I would like to do a all women's thing with you and a few other sisters on the spiritual path that y'all been on, and what sisters need to do in this day and time, because we got to maintain this balance as much as possible. So hopefully we can set up another show, and I would like to let's go in with the sisters and let's work it out. See how we can help these other sisters out here that are now coming through probably Islam and Hebrews and all that. We had back in the day we was Nubian Islamic Hebrews. We did all of that. So
Yeah, we was everything.
we was everything, brother. I mean, and he kept on doing it. He did Christianity, he did everything. I mean, out of all, and I know what you meant, brother, when you said, you got those jealous eyes, man. Because when I started singing reggae in there, they hated me, boy. The security, everybody.
Oh yeah.
All that is from such deep levels of insecurity,
Exactly right.
And the other thing to look at too is we have to eat there in order to connect with those that we connect with.
Right.
That was the first level of a different level of awakening, and it was also a hospital.
Yes. Yes.
But a lot of people did not get that, so they didn't get what they needed to get
Right.
to be and move on from there, and they're still in that limbo state.
I don't know if y'all remember. He said that in the Hall of Knowledge. He said you come here when you're sick, but when you are healed, you go out there and do the work. I remember him saying that.
Yeah.
I remember him saying that.
I got what I needed. I took the medicine, and I'm gone.
Exactly. Some people couldn't. Once again, thank y'all very much, man, for being a part of the show.
Long live the king.
Long live the family.
All hell okay.
All right, we'll talk, okay?
Get to inbox your address.
Yes, I will inbox your address. You want me to do it on Facebook?
Yes, please.
Yeah, or text us.
I got you.
All right.
All right.
All right, man.
Thank you. All right.
Love you.
Love you. Thank you. That was Jerry Miller and his beautiful wife, Sister Sandra Fraser. You can hit them up on Facebook. And thank y'all for joining me and for my other broadcasts here. This time, this was my first Keep It Simple broadcast. TV will be at Nicholas, Brooklyn this coming Saturday for the Malcolm X tribute on Keep It Simple TV. Because this is where you keep it simple, but we're going to keep you informed at the same time. Thank y'all very much. My name is King Simon. Don't forget, a lot of big things is happening, so make sure we got the Straight Black Pride event coming up. We got, of course, the Father's Day event. We got the big debate that's coming up with Brother Polite and Cleo Mananga. And we got Dr. Sabi. Everybody coming in. So thank y'all very much. We're going to repost this on Facebook and repost this and send this out on email. Remember, hit me up at King Simon Productions .wordpress.com. That's kingsimonproduction.wordpress.com. Or you can hit me up at King Simon Productions at Facebook, King Simon Production at Instagram, King Simon Prod at King Simon Prod at Twitter, and King Simon Productions at gmail.com. One love, one aim, one destiny. Assalamu alaikum, shalom alaikum, hotep to the family, peace, Irie, and I'll see you on the other side. Allahu Akbar.